Hello, everyone. Joe Morton here for this edition of A Cup of Joe podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to all things health and wellness. I cover three different pillars. Number one, fitness and exercise. Number two, diet and supplementation. And number three, the psychological, the emotional, the spiritual and mental side of health and wellness. So today I want to highlight a study that came out. It was a Harvard study that came out in JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association. It came out in 2019, and it was on push-ups. And the number and the information is startling. You're going to want to pay attention to this. All you males out there, because this is a study that was done on males, all you males want to pay attention, but you females who have males in your life that you want to have longevity and have less cardiovascular events, pay attention and share this with your males in your life, okay? So, and I want you to know how I kind of came about this. A couple months ago, I started going down this rabbit hole. I grew up in Canada, and in Canada, we had in the 70s and 80s something called, I think it was called the Canada Fitness Program or the Canadian Fitness Program. And they had a series of events that were taking place. It was like flex arm hang. Man, that thing was brutal, which turned into push-ups, apparently, according to the research that I was doing. And so that's kind of what got me going down here, but I'm kind of glad they changed that. Flex arm hang was really tough. You had to hold like this. Remember everyone in Canada? You had to hold like this, lock I think it was your eyes or your chin above the bar, and you had to hold it locked like this for, it was a minute or something like that, if you wanted to get the excellence badge. So they had like a bronze, silver, gold, and excellence. If you wanted the excellence, I think for a male, I had to do over a minute or something like that. But they had like standing long jump, they had 15-meter dash, they had like a 1500 or a 2500-meter run, and you had to do it under a certain period of time. They had shuffle bags run or something where you run to a certain distance and you grab a bean bag and run back to this one. You had to do it a certain amount of times. There's the standing long jump. Anyways, sit-ups were one of them as well. But anyways, I noticed that the flex arm hang, I think, converted over to the push-up. It was after I was doing it during a period. I think it was during elementary school. And so it was after I had left that they switched to push-ups. But it got me down this rabbit hole of push-ups. Now, I've always been kind of a proponent of push-ups. It's using your own body weight. It's amazing. And for those who have been following my podcast for a couple of years, you'll know that in the earlier podcasts, I talked about doing push-up competitions with my buddies. We would do like, hey, who can do 50 push-ups in a day for 30 days or 100 push-ups in a day for 30 days? And the key was you kind of break it up. You don't necessarily do 100 all in one go or 50 all in one go. You just kind of break it up. So I started doing them. I got away from them for a little while, but over the last several months, I've gotten right back into it, and I am not going to let this go because I'm telling you, these numbers, the statistics, you're going to pay attention, and success leaves clues. So here's the study. It came out in 2019. Again, it was a Harvard study, and it was published in JAMA February 15th, 2019. It was a study of 1,104 male firefighters. Again, this is a male study, but for all the females out there, pay attention for the males in your life. From 2000 to 2010, so it was a 10-year period, the mean age was 39.6, and the mean body mass index, or BMI, was 28.7. So I'm going to read directly from this article, and I'll put the notes in the notes, the link for this article. But participants' push-up capacity, and so that what they were studying was participants during this 10-year period of time, push-up capacity and submaximal treadmill exercise tolerance was measured at the start of the study. Okay. And then they subsequently completed annual physical examinations and health and medical questionnaires. Now, what's submaximal treadmill exercise tolerance? Basically, that's your heart rate zones, zone 2, 3, and 4. Zone 2 is about 60 to 70% of max heart rate. And that's where actually zone 2 is a good, consistent, just heart rate. That's where you burn fat the most. And people think you have to be running super fast and at max heart rate in order to burn fat. You actually burn more efficiently at zone 2, which could be a quick walk for some people. Okay, pay attention. Zone 3 is about 70 to 80%. Zone 4 is about 80 to 90%. So that's what they're talking about with submaximal treadmill exercise tolerance. Again, I'm going to read directly from this. During the 10-year study period, 37 cardiovascular disease-related outcomes were reported out of the 1,104 male firefighters. All but one occurred in men who completed 40 or fewer push-ups during the baseline exam. The researchers calculated that men able to do more than 40 push-ups had 96% reduced risk of cardiovascular disease events compared with those who were able to do less than 10 push-ups. Now, I'm going to repeat this. This is really key. Absolutely fantastic. Like, number one killer in the whole world. It used to be more North America thing. It's now a number one killer in the whole world, which is cardiovascular disease. I'll read this again. The researchers calculated that men able to do more than 40 push-ups had a 96% less reduced risk of cardiovascular events compared with those who were able to do less than 10 push-ups. Push-up capacity was more strongly associated with lower incidence of cardiovascular disease events than was aerobic capacity as estimated by a sub-maximal treadmill exercise test. This study emphasizes the importance of physical fitness on health and why clinicians should assess fitness during clinical encounters. So basically saying doctors should really be talking about fitness and how this makes a difference in our health, said senior author Stefanos Kales, professor in the Department of Environmental Health at Harvard Chan School and chief of occupational medicine at Cambridge Health Alliance. So this is very significant. Success leaves clues. This is why I want to talk about this. Success leaves clues. So push-ups make a difference. And cardiovascular wise, it really does. You really do feel it. I try to push out 40 to 50 push-ups at a time. And when I do, I'm breathing super heavy to get those done, like really heavy. And it makes a difference on our cardiovascular health, but also on our strength. Now, let me describe what we're going through. Of course, the cardiovascular, this is what this is focused on as well, but muscle groups that we're working. Powerful. And we need these muscle groups, not just when we're younger, but as we age, we need these muscle groups to help us stay healthy, to help us be able to play with our kids, play with our grandkids, be able to go out, work in the yard, go up and down stairs. These all make a difference. Getting down on the floor, getting back up off the floor, these make a difference in these muscles that we're working with. An overall body workout like a push-up makes a significant difference in our health, not just with the cardiovascular, which is what this is talking about, but the muscle groups. So let's talk about the muscle groups. Of course, we always know the chest. Chest is what we're working. Now, it depends on if you're doing a flat, you're going to be working more of your middle chest. If you're going to do an incline, which are a lot tougher, by the way, if you want to do incline push-ups, which are fantastic, you're working more of your upper chest. If you do a decline like this, little easier, yes, it is easier, but you're starting to work more of your lower pecs in that workout. You're working shoulders, whether you're doing flat, decline, incline, you're working your shoulders, overall shoulder workout. Triceps, you're working your triceps because you're going down, going up, and that activates your triceps. It activates your forearm, your wrists, and strengthening your wrists. At first, you may notice that when you start doing push-ups, your wrists are going to be very sore. That's because you're using flexibility. You've got to put a lot of pressure right there on the wrists. And so one of the reasons why you want to start slow, if you've not been doing push-ups regularly, don't start by trying to push out 40 or 50 push-ups. You don't want to try to do that. You want to work your way into it. So start with 5. If all you can do is 5, if all you can do is 1, start with 1. But you're going to feel that in your wrist big time. And I noticed that. Usually it'll take a little bit of time to push through it. Now, I've been doing it for a while, so I pushed through that pain, but I've had that in the early stages. It works your core, big time in your core. Consider this, when you're doing a push-up, up and down, you're activating that whole core, and it's as if you're doing a plank, but for 40 seconds or 30 seconds or 45 seconds, whatever it is. It's like you're doing a plank. And so you're activating your core, very good, which includes not just your abs, your side abs, everything, but your lower back as well. Really good for lower back. When I consistently do push-ups, I find that my whole back, middle, upper, lower, middle and lower back are all very engaged in this exercise, and I have less back pain. Plain and simple. Why? Because you're strengthening all these muscles. You're strengthening back, you're strengthening upper, middle, lower back, you're strengthening shoulders, triceps, you're strengthening pecs, of course, your stomach, side stomach, front stomach, phenomenal. And your cardiovascular. It's like an all body workout. Calisthenics, amazing. Just using your body weight to be able to accomplish all this. So how can you're excited. Of course, you hear this 96% less likelihood of a cardiovascular event. And you're thinking, wow, I want to do this, but I've not done push-ups in years. Start slow. Again, if all you can do is one, then do one per day. Or if all you can do is one, I actually recommend this. Start with like one in the morning, then one at maybe around lunchtime, one in the afternoon, then one at night, and then another one in the evening sometime. There's 5 for the day. If that's all you can do, fantastic. Start with that, because atrophy is very real. Okay, very real. If you haven't been doing this, you're going to feel it in your wrists, you're going to feel it in your chest, you're going to feel it in your shoulders and your triceps and your core, you're going to feel it in your cardiovascular. That's okay. Atrophy is real, but our bodies react really fast. So what you're going to find is, even after a couple days, and you're going to want to start pushing it even further, I get it, but still build up. You'll find it's not going to take long, just a couple days where you're going to be able to do more. Then you're going to be up to like 2 at a time, or 3 at a time, or 5. Maybe you're a little more advanced in your fitness, and start with 5 at a time. Very quickly, though, your body will react and it'll start going. Now, a couple ideas. You can throw it in a couple times throughout the day while you're doing weights, for example. If one day is chest, perfect day to be able to finish with push-ups. Maybe do sets of 5 push-ups. If that's all you can get out, do sets of 5, or if it's all is, do sets of 2. If you could do sets of 10, even better. But maybe 3 sets of 5, or 3 sets of 10, or 3 sets of 2, or 4 sets of 2, or 4 sets of 5, however way you want to do that. Maybe finish with that, your chest, your tries, your shoulders. But you're working with your chest workout, you're going to be feeling that. And it's a great way to just finish and pump out for the end of your workout. After you're doing back and biceps, also do push-ups. When you're finished doing shoulders and legs, whatever your mix is, your core, throw in a couple sets of push-ups. And you'll find that as you start to incorporate it, first of all, it doesn't take very long. Second of all, your body reacts very quickly. Third, it's an all body workout. And so it's great for whatever muscle group you're working on. Here's a couple ideas. Do it in the morning when you wake up, do some during lunch, while you're at work, drop from the desk, do 5 push-ups, do 10 push-ups. While I'm golfing with my buddies Ryan and Roger, we like to do push-ups either before driving at the tee, or while we're at the green. It's a great way to be able to read the green. I'll do like 5 or 10 push-ups, just kind of reading what the ball's going to do. Great way to mix it in. I don't want to do much more than 5 to 10, because then your heart's racing and you got to somehow pull out a shot. So, but if you mix it in 9 holes, you got anywhere between 45 to 90 push-ups in a 9 hole, and you almost don't even feel it at all. Here's another way. Just while you're doing yard work, stop, do some push-ups. Or while you're out for a run, me and my boys like to do this. We'll be out for a run and just drop and do 5 to 10 push-ups, or even 20 push-ups, 25 push-ups. While we're out taking a breather on a trail somewhere, just do a bunch of push-ups. It's great. Great way to be incorporated. You can get them in fairly quickly. Again, I hope you take notice of this. In this episode, we're talking about a Harvard study that was published in 2019 in JAMA, but done between 2000 and 2010 with 1,104 male firefighters. Yes, this is a male study, but this applies to women, especially with women with males in your life, or women just start incorporating push-ups as well in your life. And what a difference it makes. It's going to make a difference in your cardiovascular health. It's going to make a difference in your overall body composition and your your muscle groups that I've covered in this podcast. And success leaves clues again. If you see an article that says 96% less likelihood of a cardiovascular disease event, we pay attention. We should be paying attention to that, and then finding ways to incorporate this into our daily lives. And there's no reason why we can't just find time throughout the day to sneak in a couple push-ups here and there and start building towards being able to do 40 plus push-ups in one go. Might take a little bit of time, but your body will react very quickly. Thanks for listening to this edition of A Cup of Joe podcast, where we're talking about 96% less likelihood of a cardiovascular disease, according to a Harvard study, on push-ups, and incorporating those, doing 40 plus push-ups in one go. Thank you, and make it a great day.